Welcome back, YouTubers, to another podcast in audio form with me, Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me. You may not be able to see him, but you can definitely hear him. It's NJ! What's up? What's up, NJ? Now, today, we're going to be analysing the good and bad of the week. As you guys well know, now we're uploading this on YouTube. I can say to you, make sure you subscribe up above, like this video, and put your comments on anything you hear in this video down below.
And make sure you contact us in the links in the description box below.
Yeah, you can get links to our Facebook, Skypes, and also our individual YouTube channels as well as Twitter. So all sorts of things to contact us there. Now, where better to start this week, really, I think, than Money in the Bank, as it really began our week, really, didn't it? Money in the Bank on last Sunday. What a pay-per-view that was.
Yeah, it was probably what we agree on is that it was the pay-per-view of 2011.
Definitely,
because obviously how well it was done. The WWE realised how well it was done. Yep. So yeah, it was a good
this is surrounding. There's a lot of positivity surrounding this, and this is one of the reasons we wanted to talk about this, because this is a huge plus and a huge good of the week for us. The Money in the Bank main event match led to a lot, and the Money in the Bank matches delivered somewhat. Although the card, although the whole card wasn't great, because there was a lot of filler down, and the matches, other than the 3 good matches, it wasn't really that good, too good of matches in my opinion. The Orton Christian match was okay, but the Divas match and the Mark Henry Big Show match wasn't very good. But as 4 matches, including the 2 main events, the whole thing was very good. I loved it.
I'll say I enjoyed Money in the Bank too. It's definitely gave us a future in the WWE.
Ooh, CM Punk.
That is true.
Wow.
It gave us CM Punk, the thing with Daniel Bryan, Alberto Del Rio, so it's gave us the future now.
That's one thing I want to touch on here. Daniel Bryan winning Money in the Bank, very good, in my opinion, a very good thing. You know, I know that we usually like heels winning this, and we wanted Del Rio, we wanted Wade Barrett or Cody Rhodes or Sheamus to win it. But for Daniel Bryan to win it, it means that SmackDown have another possible face.
And it's the thing I said. We were going to this saying it's pretty much predictable pay-per-view.
Yeah.
The thing is, with Daniel Bryan winning, it was a surprise.
Yes.
And I think Money in the Bank needed a surprise just to give us think, wow, that was a shock. We didn't expect that.
We got 3 surprises. We got Daniel Bryan winning the Money in the Bank. We got Christian winning the title, which I didn't expect at all. I expected Orton to win. And we got CM Punk winning, which is and the way it was done, it was a great surprise. And that match we got with Cena and Punk was close to very, very close, if not 5-star. I really enjoyed the build, the way the match was done. It went on for half an hour. CM Punk and Cena put on a good match together, and the way the thing ended was just picture perfect for me. And we were marking out at the time.
And again, the good thing about the end of Money in the Bank, it did lead on to the future Raw and SmackDown.
Yep.
So it did its good
Yep.
job.
And on those lines, well, let's go and talk about Raw now, shall we?
Let's go for it.
The good and bad of the week of the Raw show.
Here we go.
So to start off Raw, what we can really say is that the opening segment set up a championship tournament match. As we know, CM Punk has won the titles, taken it out of WWE. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He wanted to make a new title, and he said, let's have a championship tournament. And I was all for this idea. I really like the idea of a championship tournament, of loads of people getting a shot, having it on one night.
Because the thing is, the whole night was directly all about the championship.
And wrestling too.
Yeah, so that made the whole night of Raw, I think, really good. I think.
Yep, and the whole tournament thing adds a lot of suspense. And even though I don't think I think some of the matches weren't really done too well, I still think it was a good way to sort of move on from Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Even though it didn't address CM Punk, it kind of addressed it in a way, because he obviously took the title away.
And the competitors were pretty good choices too.
Yeah, we had Miz, Alex Riley, Jack Swagger, R-Truth, Rey Mysterio, Del Rio, Kofi Kingston, and an 8th person, which always slips my mind.
An 8th person.
It doesn't really matter, but there was a lot of good possible main event guys in there, and even Alex Riley as well. So they had a lot of good wrestlers in there, which means this tournament has a lot of, it has a lot of good people in it, which is always good for a championship tournament. And there was a couple of good matches in there too, so I'm not going to complain too much about it.
No, and the matches themselves, some of them were better than others, as we say. But I think when it came down to it, it filled up the night, so it did its job. Yeah,
the championship tournament was it went the whole night, didn't it? Which one thing I do like about this, it puts all your emphasis on the title, which is good, because it is the main thing you need to be promoting in your company, and it prevents filler as well, because you have all these matches.
Well, especially with the title now taken away by CM Punk.
Yep.
We needed this night to be dedicated on getting a new title, just so the WWE can keep going forward. So yeah,
And like I said, it prevents filler. And there was, you know, you had Del Rio. That's another thing I like about Raw. Del Rio got some promo time after winning Money in the Bank, and now you've got this question: when is he going to cash it in? Because I still think he'll cash it in next week when the Rey Mysterio Miz match happened. Because Miz has got this injury. I'm thinking that he must have this injury for a reason. I'm thinking Del Rio might just cash it on him next week. That's just my opinions, though.
Well, you've explained now who's won this championship.
Oh, there's no point in going through all the matches, is there? Might as well get straight to the final. But Del Rio lost to fucking Kofi.
Bringing up the winners and that.
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston, I know Del Rio should not have been in it, but really...
He's the number one contender. He should have just...
Which will go on to
He should have just been crowned the new champion. He's the number one contender, surely. Yeah. Or have the winner of the tournament go against him for the title. That's a bit ridiculous in a way, isn't it? I don't know.
So I guess Kofi winning, it made sense on that behalf.
Yeah, because he's Money in the Bank winner. So we don't want him winning it, then he'll be the champion, number one contender, and Money in the Bank winner, and that just wouldn't make fucking sense.
Too much foul play.
It would be funny though, wouldn't it? Oh, I'm cashing it in on myself.
I would say before he loses it and cash it in, but whatever. But
smart thinking, NJ.
Yeah, it's pretty much... Didn't happen, so Alberto Del Rio got knocked out.
It kind of rendered that triple threat number one contenders match pointless. Now you're just wondering why WWE have done it, because there's no reason why. It doesn't seem that there's a reason now for Del Rio to be the number one contender. He's now got Money in the Bank. So, do you know what I mean?
Maybe he's not the number one contender anymore. Maybe they scrapped that and he's just the Money in the Bank now.
Well, they haven't done a great job of telling us that, have they? If they have done that, maybe they've mentioned it on WWE.com in a little column somewhere, but who knows?
Well, I don't know. But anyway, going past that, you said about the main event.
Yeah.
We have... Now it comes to Rey Mysterio and The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
That match should be good because we have a face versus a heel.
Yeah.
We have Rey Mysterio's not been the champ for
a while
now.
Miz has got this injury.
Yeah, so it could play a pretty good match.
Yeah, but that's for next week though, and that's kind of good because it means we know what match we're going to get next week. And even though people might complain that the match wasn't done on the night like Vince said it would, you know, he said it was going to a new champion to be crowned tonight. At least it means we get some decent hype for next week, and we know we've definitely got a main event caliber match there, especially considering it's for the WWE title. So I think that's good. I don't mind that too much, even though at the time I was a little bit like, oh come on.
Well, again, we talk about the good things, but I'm going to say that was just bad because you had the whole night expecting the main event to be the winner of the tournament, and for that not to happen, I think it's a disappointment.
But instead of that, we got a shocking main event, didn't we?
Which made it for it kind of, but at the same time, they should have extended Raw, made it longer.
Yep.
3 hours special.
You know, and do you want to go into the main event bit, or would you rather talk about Beth Phoenix winning a match for a change?
Well, Beth Phoenix would be good because the main event, so that we can go on a bit about. So we'll talk about Beth Phoenix in the one match other than an opening segment, finishing segment, and a championship tournament match. We had 7-on-7 match. Yes,
between the divas, so it's just a filler match. But at least Beth Phoenix won.
Because there was a big scrap outside the ring, which got the divas involved in actually doing something.
It was a shit match.
And then and you get Beth Phoenix winning the match quite simply. So again, it was a short match, got the divas involved, and Beth Phoenix won. So I'm not going to complain too much about it. No,
Beth Phoenix won, but does that mean she's going to be going after the title? There was a little bit of a tease there between her and Kelly, wasn't it? Which means she might be going after the title sometime soon.
It would be good because I think having the title hopefully back on Beth Phoenix would be something good and different.
Yep.
But again, we don't know if that's going to happen yet, but we can only hope.
I'll say one thing though, NJ, before we go on to the main event bit. You know, not too much happened on Raw. It's mainly because we had a championship tournament, a filler match, an opening segment, and finish. So we can't really talk about too much in this really Raw, can we? Because it was all dedicated to one thing, to mainly one thing. So really, the only thing left for us to talk about is the main event match.
That is very true. Yeah.
Which was, as we all know, Triple H firing Vince McMahon, and boy, was that a fucking shocker! I did not expect to see that. That's another shocker from Money in the Bank. They're continuing their shocks from Money in the Bank onto Raw, and it was just like, whoa!
It was a big shocker, and the thing I liked about this is the emotions were driving wild.
Yeah.
You could see it in Vince, even though it's acting. Vince played his part well. Triple H, as he said what he needed to say, he played it well, and it was just, I think, all nicely done.
Yeah, I did like the way it was done. It's just, at the time I was thinking, just what the fuck's going on here? I mean, we all know Vince McMahon isn't going to really get fired, but Triple H we all know that Vince McMahon is grooming Triple H to be the next sort of chairman. So in a sense, this has kind of got some real life, measure about it in a way. But also, I think this will be an introduction to Triple H as an on-screen authority figure, And as we've seen this week, they might even tease a Triple H CM Punk rivalry by the sounds of what they're doing, because they're using social media now. They're using social media and social networking to kind of promote where Punk is off WWE television, or keeping Triple H on WWE television. So it's kind of interesting how they're doing that as well, I think. But
well, at the minute, I'm going to be enjoying to see Triple H having his power.
Yep.
Hopefully he's not just going to be a authority on Raw. I want to see him spin onto SmackDown, because I think, yes, we've got new riders for Raw and SmackDown, but with Triple H getting involved in both shows, I think it could do good for the ratings, it could do good with storylines, it could make so much good stuff happen if they do make Triple H work on both shows.
And you're giving Triple H, who is now not really going to wrestle too much, you're giving him a prominent TV role, which, if you're a Triple H fan such as NJ, is very good.
Yes.
And especially since that, he will be taking over the company sometime soon. The fact that he's got an on-screen authority figure is kind of good practice for that, and he can replace Vince McMahon, who really shouldn't be on TV again after what happened last week.
No, but my question for Triple H is, before he got this power on over the WWE, we heard his last promo when he said to Undertaker, "I'll be waiting for you." I think now with this power he has, if Undertaker does sometime come back, are they actually going to do a Taker and Triple H thing? Or now Triple H's got this power over the WWE, are they going to move away from Taker and Triple H and move on to what you said earlier, Triple H and Punk?
Who knows?
It's just a question thing, because it would be interesting to see if they are going to continue with that Undertaker and Triple H, or are they going to move on to something different?
Yeah,
it's just a question I thought.
It is interesting, and it just leaves us wondering, which is good, because it means we're not getting the answers to questions yet, and we're really wondering what's going on. We're really looking forward to next week's Raw because of it, aren't we?
Because it's made us a lot of interest, because WWE needed like a wake-up call, so it's big, a new storyline to happen, and this Triple H taking over is giving us that, and this is probably going to go on for a couple of months, which it needs, because it's going to give us something to look out for. We're going to probably get a lot more surprises from this. So I'm going to say they've done brilliantly in the Raw.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's just a shame that I'll give you, just for me, in the Raw review, I said I'd rate the show. I rated the show a C, but I rated the main event A star, because it was fantastic. I didn't think the Raw was brilliant, but I think the main event was just the catalyst of it, which was good, I thought. Which kind of brings us into the bad aspects of Raw. There wasn't many bad aspects of Raw, because we didn't get too much. But we had such things like, I know we talked about Beth Phoenix winning, but the match itself wasn't very good at all. Why do they still keep on giving us these 7-on-7 Divas matches, which really aren't very good and don't really showcase anyone, apart from obviously the winner, Beth Phoenix?
Well, to be honest, I'm not going to complain that it was a 7-on-7. I'm not. I'm going to be one of the ones that don't, because I think the fact is we're getting divas that we keep complaining about, saying, "Oh, she needs to be involved. She needs to."
But I want to see him in a storyline. I mean, a 7-on, showing all the divas is good, but I want to see these divas in some sort of storyline going after the divas title. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to see them all in a 7-on-7 match and really not have much to do. I mean, you had people like Melina, Gail Kim, really not doing anything. But I'm glad the focus was on Beth Phoenix, because that was the thing that got me. That was the thing I liked most about it.
I think, looking past that bad, it's also gave us good, like you said.
Yeah.
We've had a not good showing match, and now we're going to have a concentrate, hopefully, on Beth Phoenix and Kelly.
Hopefully.
So, hopefully that's good.
Hopefully Beth Phoenix will win, to be honest. But
it would be good to see if it happens.
There we go. I had a little bit of a complaint about the tournament itself. I like the fact that most of the night was dedicated to wrestling. I like the tournament idea. It's just that some of the matches didn't really feel like championship qualifier caliber matches, did they? There was some matches in there that really just didn't feel right to me, and they didn't really get that much time either. I didn't think, some of them, but otherwise there were some matches which were very good, I thought.
Again, I look at the matches and think, right, we had Miz versus Riley. That was good, so they need to continue with that. They had Kofi Kingston versus Del Rio. Again, they should have had Del Rio in it, so knocked him out. We had Rey Mysterio versus R-Truth. I'm going to complain a bit about that, because I'm thinking they should have had, if you looked at Money in the Bank, continue with that, we had Del Rio take off Rey's mask.
Yeah.
So I think they should have had Del Rio versus Rey sometime in this tournament. So I'm kind of not so sure if they picked the matches out right, but overall, the matches weren't. I know we had to fit loads of matches in 2 hours, but I think some of the matches some matches that you hope were going to be good matches just don't get enough time.
No.
But
maybe they could have spread it over 2 shows or a pay-per-view, for
example.
Or
gave us a 3-hour Raw, which I think it would have gave us the main event that's happening next week now. It would have gave us a good ending segment, and the matches would have been longer.
And then you can start building to your pay-per-view, your next pay-per-view, which is one of the biggest SummerSlam, one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, SummerSlam.
So a 3-hour Raw would have done more justice. That's another bad point I'm going to add to this list.
I think a bad point for me would be Kofi beating Del Rio. I know it got him out of it because he's Money in the Bank winner, but he's also the #1 contender, and you're having Kofi Kingston beat Del Rio, and you're thinking to yourself, come on, Del Rio is your #1 contender. Seriously. I just really didn't like the fact that Kofi beat Del Rio.
I don't think, just because he beat Del Rio, I really don't think Kofi's going to lead anywhere after this. In the next couple of weeks, he's going to go back to being just doing hardly anything.
He's not involved in any storylines or anything, is he? I mean, it's just sort of lollygagging about on Raw.
That's true, and I'm hoping that loss is not going to damage Del Rio too much, because you still want Del Rio to look good, because he is our Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, this is a real sort of recurring theme for me on Raw and SmackDown as well. There's sometimes the lack of depth in storylines is just ridiculous. I mean, we've got the CM Punk storyline, the title storyline, but what else have we got? There's not really much else. There's two main storylines on Raw and then a load of filler, and it's just, this is probably the wrong time to complain about it because it was a championship tournament, but it's a reoccurring theme on Raw and SmackDown now, I think.
I'm going to say back to that. We've had Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Money in the Bank's finished, so the ex-writer stuff has came to an end.
Yeah. New era.
We're in a new era. We've had the championship thing sorted. We've had that week sorted now. Now the new writers can continue with their new writings.
I hope they do.
And I'm thinking, what you just said, yes, it might stop now, the thing you've said. It might start fresh and we might get everything that we were hoping for now.
Hopefully, yeah, because I really do think WWE's lack of storylines, giving wrestlers storylines is just ridiculous at the moment. I mean, we've seen prime examples of it on Raw and SmackDown before this. Hopefully they will improve it. I mean, they have started improving shows such as SmackDown lately, which we watched last night or the night before on Friday. Is there anything else you really want to talk about on Raw before we wrap this section up?
No, it's just got us looking forward to next week. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, so definite positive there, although there were some bad aspects, but that's just us nitpicking, really. So, should we move on to TNA then, NJ?
Yeah, let's.
And now, as the music showed us, or we listened to it, of course, we move on to TNA Impact Wrestling, and one thing I will say before we go into anything is we got 4 pre-announced matches. We got Velvet Sky versus Mickie James for the Top Knockouts Championship. We got the 4-way ladder match for 10 Bound for Glory Series points. We got RVD versus Scott Steiner in a Bound for Glory Series match. And of course, the 4th match we had was the X Division title match between Kendrick and Shelley. So 4 pre-announced matches. It really gave us something to look forward to, didn't it? And although one of them didn't happen, you've got to remember, think that 3 pre-announced matches that we got is still better than anything WWE can do now.
That's true, and the good thing is that some of these matches were like, as soon as you hear them, you know that's going to be a great match.
Look forward to them, yeah.
So it gives you something to look forward to.
Definitely. And which match to start off with better than the 4-way ladder match, which I thoroughly enjoyed. When you have guys like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe in a 4-way ladder match, even Matt Morgan, you know you're going to get a good match out of those two, especially when there's 10 points up for grabs, and you know how much this title shot is meaning to a lot of those guys in this tournament.
Because the good thing about before the tournament started, you get video of them talking about
we got 4 interviews, didn't we?
Yeah, so I thought that was good for the match.
A lot of very good build-up from that, wasn't there?
I think it was, and it definitely did good for the match, because they all had said how important this match is going to be.
Yep.
And the match itself, you have all these kind of good stunts and
spots
moves.
And stuff.
Yeah, so I think it made that match entertaining, and overall, I'm going to say each wrestler did really good in this match.
Definitely. I was very impressed with AJ Styles, and I was also Matt Morgan, I think, is one of those guys who I'm really expecting to be at the top, near the top of this leaderboard. Just judging by recent results and everything, and the way they're booking him. Before I digest my food, the only issue with this match I had was the fact that I thought it could have gone on longer. I really thought with those 4 guys in it, it could have gone on a lot longer, but in Impact Wrestling tapings, you're not really going to get hugely long matches. But that was another problem we found with TNA, wasn't it? But we'll go on to that later, I think.
Yeah, I'll save what I was going to say about this match, because there's some bad in this match, which I'm going to say when we get to the bad points. Because, again, I don't really want to be bashing this too much, but again, there's some things I noticed in this match that could have been better. But overall, Matt Morgan, the one I wanted to win, went straight up the ladder and hooked it, and he's got his 10 points.
Yep, definitely on a little bit of paper, eh? 10 points to you, brother. Speaking of brother, who didn't we get on this week's TNA Impact Wrestling?
We did not get Hogan or Bischoff or Jeff.
Fucking Jarrett. Big plus for me. We did not get those three guys on there, which means Immortal wasn't doing the opening segment, and Jarrett wasn't burying young talent and having pointless video packages.
As much as I'm a fan of Immortal, I'm kind of glad, because the way that this TNA went, I'm kind of glad that they stayed out of the way.
Yeah, and most shows which Hogan and Bischoff aren't, people really don't like that much, and Jarrett as well, because a lot of people have bad thoughts towards these three guys. The fact that they weren't on it kind of makes the show a little bit more enjoyable, in my opinion. And of course, we didn't get that many backstage segments, really. Backstage segments, which is good as well. I enjoyed that. The fact that we didn't get any of those.
Because the only backstage segments we got with the Divas, the knockout
ones,
yeah. And I'm just thinking...
There was some there, but just not as many as usual. And it means the show flows a bit better, in my opinion, when there's no backstage segments.
It's a bit of a shame that without the backstage segments, some of the matches could have gone on longer.
Yeah.
But again, that goes on to our bad points. But again, I'm going to say... not much backstage segments, definitely did good for TNA.
Because usually when we do our review on TNA Impact Wrestling, usually we make rather big rants about the amount of, because sometimes there's so many backstage segments, some of them which add nothing to the match. And it looked like TNA this week got rid of all those segments that had nothing to do with feuds, nothing to do with storylines, and nothing to do with matches, and actually got in the right amount of backstage segments which you need on a show to sort of showcase the actual matches you had on the night and the actual hype towards the pay-per-view, which is Hardcore Justice.
Yeah, I give it that too. It did good tonight. On TNA.
Yeah, and tonight is Sunday. Anyway, also I think this kind of leads on to my next positive. I do think at the moment TNA, last week they announced 2 matches at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view, and I think they're continuing the build rather well. They've got their main event storyline sorted now, which they featured prominently in the opening segment and the main event. They've also got an X Division feud going at the moment, which I kind of like, even though the title match could have been done at the pay-per-view, but that'll be on the bad segments. Also, we had the Tag Team Championship segment as well, which I thought was very good. It's good build-up for the Hardcore Justice, in my opinion. I think they're doing it rather well at the moment.
Yeah, with the segment with Beer Money.
James Storm, bitch. And his cowboy boots.
The way they're on mic, I was really entertained, because we had the...
Mexican America.
Oh, flip. When they came out, I was like...
Mexican America, baby! We're here to take your American accent and shove it right up your asshole!
At first,
bitch!
At first, I was like, okay, they've got something to say, let them come out. But then they went on a bit too long, and my interest went from liking it to just thinking... too long.
Thank God Beer Money interrupted there. James Storm was fucking great on the mic, wasn't he?
Yeah, the way he spoke to them, I think the things he was saying, that you should shove it at them speak, it was just good. It was entertaining.
We got a bit from Bobby Roode as well. I do like Bobby Roode on the mic, but James Storm really showed tonight why he might be deserving of a singles push in the near future. I really did enjoy this segment. Again, it really hyped for their match at Hardcore Justice. It's the kind of thing you need between matches and stuff, so I'll give it a positive, really. The segment really did well for the pay-per-view hype, which is what the TNA need to focus a lot more on, not fucking trying to get ratings sometimes.
And throughout the night, like, you've given moments to the other TNA wrestlers, and to give it to these ones, because we've lost a tag team.
Generation Me got released, yeah.
So I think giving time for the ones that we have left was good. You've given it to probably the best, or they are the best tag team on TNA.
Yep, possibly in the world, who knows.
And we have this other tag team that...
Mexican America. Hernandez and Anakia, baby, we're Mexican America!
Yeah, and whatever rating they get.
Whatever rating they get?
Yeah, because I'm no fan of them. They're just bored.
Alright then, we'll stop talking about that segment then. I just thought the segment was well done. Mexican America, I'm not a big fan of either, but I guess they're a decent heel tag team faction to go up against Beer Money, and I have no doubt that Beer Money might win. If Beer Money lose at this pay-per-view, I feel a singles push for Bobby Roode and James Storm will be imminent. That's all I'll say about that one. Another good thing I liked about TNA was the fact that Austin Aries is now trying to get in this X Division title feud. We had the X Division title match, but he got involved with Alex Shelley at the end of the match. I think they're kind of trying to tease an Alex Shelley-Austin Aries feud, which I think I will enjoy, because you've got just two great... One guy that can play a great face who's really over with the crowd in Alex Shelley, and a fucking great heel in Austin Aries, just judging by his work in ROH and the work he's been doing so far in TNA, which I think is very good.
They both got the look about them that looks like, when you look at them, you think, that is a good match.
I want to see it. I just want to see this match. I really do. First, as soon as I saw them two collide, I was thinking, I want to see it.
Yeah, that's the good thing about them. They make you want to see them, and the way they perform, from what you've just said, you've seen them, that they're actually good entertainers and good performers. So I think that when they do have a match, it'll be a good match.
Austin Aries just plays a great heel. He interrupted in the match, hit Alex Shelley with the title. I really enjoy Austin Aries as a heel. I know I said this last week as well, but he does remind me of a CM Punk. He really does.
And I think he played his part in that match well. Yeah. Yes, he didn't do a lot, but the small thing he did set his character greatly for the upcoming weeks.
And it's good that TNA are actually showcasing him on TV just after he's won this contract, because I had a feeling they might just go off on that a little bit. And they've kind of gone off on the exhibition a tiny bit, in my opinion, more than they should have done. But they're really, they're really getting his character going now. They're really playing him over as a heel, and they're getting involved in seemingly a feud, which is something I'm guessing why this X Division title match was on TV. It's great that they're actually bringing him into some sort of feud at the moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing that. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next with them.
Yep. Okay then. Shall we move on to our next thing then? Knockouts. One thing I want to say about the knockouts at the moment, it's something that I'm feeling is very good, and it's kind of part of Vince Russo's booking. But Vince Russo always manages to get people into feuds. Now, on TNA Impact Wrestling at the moment, you have 3 knockout feuds, which in my opinion is a real big positive, just simply because WWE can barely book a fucking Divas title feud. They can barely book one Divas feud. We have Madison Rayne versus Terra. That's one feud. Velvet Sky versus ODB and Miss Jackie, which is another feud. And we also have Mickie James versus Angelina Winter in a knockout title feud, which I think is very good. Even if they can't book them all on one show and they have to put them all in one fucking clusterfuck segment, it's still good to see that actually can make 3 rivalries from the knockouts. It shows why me and you are both agreed that the knockouts are way better than the Divas.
Because the thing is, over the last couple of weeks, I've said that the knockouts put on a great match, and they're good every week. And I'm saying that they've beat the Divas by far now, and I'm saying that with these 3 feuds, it's definitely going to be interesting to see if they can continue making the knockout matches as good as they have been.
Yep, I think this is a good point for us to move on to the bad points, simply because we're talking about knockouts. There's good things in the knockouts at the moment, but there's also a lot of bad things, in my opinion, such as the knockouts tag match that we got. It really wasn't that good, in my opinion, and it just seemed like a real title switch. Real cheap title switch. I've since found out that I think it was Sarita has got some sort of facial injury, and at the time I was just thinking that it was just really a real cheap title switch, and it just seemed really stupid. On one night you've just created, Terra and Miss Teschmacher. Why is Teschmacher even in the tag team winning a title? I just don't know. I don't rate her as a wrestler. I don't know. It just seemed like a real cheap title switch. I don't know what your opinions are on that though.
Yeah, when it happened, I was just like, I'm not a fan of the knockout tags.
Yeah, why have they even got that belt in there?
It just sucks. I just really don't understand it.
Why don't they just focus on the fucking title, the knockout title?
That would have been a lot better, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But, really, that was probably the worst match of the night, in my opinion. It went on for... I think it went on longer than the ladder match, which is kind of stupid. I just don't like seeing this Teschmacher and winning a bloody... I keep saying Divas. Tag team title.
At first, I was fine with them coming out. I was like, okay, you're getting them all involved. They're all doing something. But then when it went on longer than it should, I just thought, come on, finish here. Because of this, it affected later in the night as well.
Yeah.
And when a knockout part affects most important part of the night, it kind of brings the ratings and the good thoughts down.
Yeah. Carrying on from this knockouts, we had a segment. I'll give it. At least TNA can make a knockout segment, which is a knockout promo segment, which is good. Mickie James got some promo time with Velvet Sky. That's a plus. I forgot about that on the plus side. But the segment after that, the 2 knockout segments, it just went up. The segment where you had Mickie James coming out for a match with Velvet Sky. Them getting attacked by Angelina and Winter, and then all of a sudden you have Velvet Sky getting attacked by ODB and Miss Jackie, and then you have Madison Rayne and fucking Terra. Then it's just like that was so fucking clusterfucked. And then it went on for way too long, and it meant that the main event got little time. It just went on for way too fucking long, didn't it?
I agree with that. did not like that at all. As much as I like to say good thing about knockouts, it just made me unlike it. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, a bit like a Facebook status that you just liked and you really want to dislike it, really. But
Pretty
you know, it's good that they're giving a lot of some promo and segment time to knockouts, but not this much, especially before the main event, and this kind of affected the main event, didn't it? Because the main event really didn't get that much time. And when you're, you know, in TNA Impact Wrestling, really, you want your main event match to get a decent amount of time so it could tell a decent story and set up a feud for Hardcore Justice. And although I think they've got the basics to this right, it just really sort of went downhill, in my opinion, when the main event just did not get enough fucking time.
No, and I was expecting more from the main event because the main event itself was something that I look forward to main events because you're expecting a lot of good things, a good way to finish the night. So with it being short, it kind of loses the feeling. And with the rest that were in the main event, you do expect a lot from them.
Well, we had Sting and Kurt Angle versus Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson. You know, in that kind of match, which has 4 kind of main event guys, apart from maybe Bully Ray, even though I know you like him. It just really didn't get that much time, and it really wasn't a very good main event. I liked what happened afterwards, though. When you had Kurt Angle and Sting shaking hands and all of a sudden they're moving close to each other, it shows a little bit of tension going into their match at Hardcore Justice. So I did like that. It's just the match itself sucked. I really didn't like it.
Because the thing is, with the main event, there's so much that could have happened. You had like Mr. Anderson needing to get his revenge for losing the title. You had Angle needing to look more dominant.
He got the pin though, didn't he, on Anderson?
Yeah, but the match was too quick. He did all he did was a quick Olympic stand finish. He didn't actually knock him out much. He didn't do enough moves. So I think the match didn't do as much justice as it could have done if it had more time.
Okay then. Another thing which I really didn't like about TNA Impact Wrestling was that the fact that they had an X Division title match there, which I feel should have been on a pay-per-view. I feel that an X Division title match between Alex Shelley and Brian Kendrick, especially after that. Why did you cough?
No, I just went Murph because you said Brian
Kendrick, the Brian Kendrick from WWE. It's just a shame to me that they couldn't build this rivalry up to a pay-per-view just because you had Alex Shelley win that Ultimate X match, which was a decent match. You also had Brian Kendrick win his match against Abyss. And I'm thinking to myself, why has all this just culminated in a damn match for the X Division Championship on TNA Impact Wrestling when you could have had it on a pay-per-view? I just think that was a really bad idea for TNA, unless they're trying to get Austin Aries in there somehow for Hardcore Justice. I don't know.
It would be a good idea because I can't believe that they made Thing win.
Brian Kendrick win. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Brian Kendrick either, to be honest. I just feel this match could have been at a pay-per-view. It could have been perfectly built to a pay-per-view, in my opinion. I think they're trying to get Austin Aries in there a little bit too quick. But even though I love Austin Aries a lot, I still think they're getting it in there a bit too quick, in my opinion. But
I just kind of think that Brian Kendrick is not going to be
champion for long.
No, that's exactly what I think. He's just not someone that people are going to like and want to see in matches.
Please make him lose at Hardcore Justice. I don't want to see him as the champion. I really don't. The only reason I liked him as the champion at first was because he beat Abyss, and Abyss just wasn't a great X Division champion. But I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with that one because I know you have a gripe about the ladder match, which you want to talk about.
Yeah, the thing about the ladder match is the length. Like you said earlier, the length of this match
it didn't justify the meaning.
No, you have all these great X Division and stuff that the importance of this match. Again, I just didn't like the length it went on. You had Matt Morgan, the dominant guy. You had
AJ Styles.
You had all these that you're hoping to bring up higher
and Samoa Joe as well. Let's not forget him. He's on 0 points at the moment.
So you see, again, I'm glad the winner was correct. I think.
Yep.
But the length, the action in this match, you could have done so much more if it was longer. And again, I don't know. I'm trying not to bash it too much, but I just weren't happy with the length. The match we're all looking forward to, the #1 match, and it did good, but not as good as it could do.
With more time. One thing I will say here, though, Samoa Joe at the moment is on no points. A lot of people are jumping to conclusions, in my opinion. I was at first too, until I realised that what TNA might do is they might just have him win a load of matches at the end by submission, get him win 10 points each time, and that would give him a huge push going into the pay-per-view, No Surrender, when he does finally get in that #1 contendership match. And that might be how they make him win it, because he's got this huge push going into the pay-per-view.
The thing is, we've got loads of thoughts on who's going to be in the final now.
Yeah, I know. It could be Gunnar, Crimson,
Matt Morgan.
It's making this tournament very interesting, really, isn't it? I'm interested.
It is. That's a good thing. And I'm just saying that if they continue doing this, make exciting matches, this X Division thing could become a really good thing, I think.
Yeah, the TNA, the Bound for Glory series thing. Although there are, to be honest, there are a couple of X Division guys in it, aren't there? Like AJ Styles and people like that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What we'll say here now is Impact was it was a very average show. A lot of matches didn't get enough time. We had the Eric fucking Young segment, which was fucking awful. That was one of the worst segments I've ever fucking seen. He goes into a store, sees D'Lo Brown, rolls him up and counts 1, 2, 3 really fast, and it's just like, why was this even on TV? The only thing worse than this is a Jeff Jarrett from Mexico segment.
That is true, but with Eric Young, he's not gonna do anything.
It's annoying as fuck.
He's not gonna become anything great in TNA.
No, he's a television champion, and he's not even really doing anything on TV that's of real prominence at all. He's got 2 fucking belts.
And that's true. And TNA having him involved, I just don't see the point in him. He's just not gonna do. He's not doing it for TNA ratings. No. He's just doing it for entertainment. But I bet, even entertainment-wise,
that's why he's our TV champion.
I really think people would rather see him leave.
I give a thumbs up there just for a D'Lo Brown sighting, in my opinion, to be honest.
That was a good thing because you weren't expected to see it. No, but
he's grown a bit since his WWE days, hasn't he?
Quite a bit. Yeah. But I just say, to improve that, just release Eric Young, please.
Eric Young, 1, 2, 3. Oh, fucking hell. That was probably the worst segment. That was the worst segment of the night, in my opinion.
It was.
Well, that's pretty much it for the good and bad of TNA. We'll get on to SmackDown then, I guess, which showed signs of improvement this week. So look forward to that.
Yes, let's.
And now we move on to the WWE SmackDown section of our podcast/audio. Usually this is the section where we bash about SmackDown, but NJ, SmackDown has been slightly improved this week, isn't it? And I think this is mainly due to the fact we have a new head writer in Ed Koskey.
And that goes back to what I've been saying in the other Raw and TNA. We said, now that we've got
different writers,
Money Bank's finished, we're getting new writers, they can start fresh. They can start making improvements. And I think SmackDown, as we've said before, is the show that needs the improvements.
Definitely.
And I'm saying now that they can start fresh from a whole new month, the improvements can start happening, which this show definitely showed us.
Yeah, usually we would just have like about 3 good points, but in this we got like about 10, haven't we? There was a couple of good things about SmackDown which we really liked this week, and it's mainly highlighting the improvements that I make. And even though they were only some of these small improvements made a big difference in our overall opinions. We'll start off with the opening segment. Now, usually in an opening segment on SmackDown, we would get Orton coming out, saying something boring, Teddy Long coming out, making the match for the main event. But this one was a bit different, wasn't it? We had Orton on the mic for, 30 seconds, which I can tolerate, because all he said was, "My name is Randy Orton."
And we're going to get Christian involved.
Yeah, we got Christian involved.
Yeah.
And then Teddy Long come out, and I was thinking, oh, here we go again. But it was slightly different, because you had Orton really wanting to attack Christian, and then Teddy Long stopping him, but him attacking him anyway, saying, Orton's, it announces the main event for the night, which is predetermined, and it also announces the next match, which is Christian versus Israel Jackson. I thought this opening segment was a lot more interesting than the usual SmackDown opening segments.
With SmackDown, when you think of the opening segment, you want it to be good, because it's the thing that's going to get the crowd going, the thing that's going to get you wanting to watch the rest of the show. And with this particular opening segment, it did its job. It got people interested. It got people wanting to see what's happening later in the night.
Yep.
It announced matches, which I think is a different itself, because yes, you hear like them the night before or something, but them to actually announce on the show, it just definitely got people looking forward to the rest of the night.
Yeah, and what I liked about this is you had more tension with Christian and Randy Orton. I think it was a bit different in the fact that they had like security there trying to separate them. I thought that was quite good how they did that, even though Randy Orton managed to get Christian anyway. I thought the opening segment was a lot more interesting than usual, which is why it's a big positive in my opinion. And we also got the announcement of the next match, and we got reference to the main event as well, which was good. It's what we needed to hear. It gives us something to look forward to throughout the night.
Yeah, I think again the first match had good points and bad points.
Yep.
I think the good points were it was to give Christian a match, and I think it was to show off, because he's now the champion now. He needed to show off how good he is as a wrestler.
Yep.
And I think, again, okay, I don't believe that. See, there's not many good points about it. I can't really think of much.
Well, should we save that to the bad points then?
Yeah, we'll save the rest for the bad points.
Sure thing. One good point I do want to talk about in SmackDown is Daniel Bryan. Now, as we know, Daniel Bryan won Money in the Bank, which is surprising itself. But I'm really glad that WWE gave him some promo time with Michael Cole, who's obviously a big heel. And it's kind of building him up, and then he announces when he's going to cash in Money in the Bank, which I thought was very good, although it had some bad points about it, which will probably to my head because they're only brief. But I enjoyed the Daniel Bryan promo time. It gives him time to build a character, build himself up to when he cashes in Money in the Bank, which we found out was WrestleMania 28.
Daniel Bryan's promo. Again, I think now he is the Money in the Bank. At first, I didn't really like him that much. I'm thinking with this, there's a big part of me that hopes he's the first one to lose it. At the same time, with Daniel Bryan, SmackDown needs more face main eventers. Yeah. I'm thinking with Daniel Bryan, with these recent video packages that we've seen of him, with the fact that he's good at his submission moves and that, and other people other than me seem to like him. Yep. I think he'll be a good person to go into the main event. And the thing is, the promo, he's not actually awful on mic. The fact that he's actually said that he added more quality to the WrestleMania that's coming up. Yeah. So we're guaranteed like the Cena and Rock thing. Now we might be looking to see Daniel Bryan winning his first World Championship.
Maybe. I hope that does happen because I really do like Daniel Bryan, along with a lot of indie fans as well, which followed him through ROH. Do really like him too. The only gripe I have about this, it's only a quick gripe, so I'll say it now, was that did they announce it a little bit too soon? So much can happen between then and WrestleMania. Did they really need to announce it now? Could they not have announced it a little bit further down the line? I don't know. That's just a little gripe I had with it.
Well, again, I'm a positive person, as you know from my other videos. I'm saying it might be too early to a lot of people, but at the same time, I think this is just WWE's way. You've had the Raw, so especially about Raw, which is that John Cena Raw. Now we need to especially about SmackDown, which is Daniel Bryan's special moment at WrestleMania.
And adding a little bit of insight into MJ's positivity, the only review or video I think we've done where he's been absolutely negative was the Capital Punishment review.
Capital Punishment. Well, as we said before, Money in the Bank
was way better.
The best pay-per-view, so I had to be positive. Yeah. There are other pay-per-views just been awful. It's hard to be positive when stuff have been awful. Yep. But now with this SmackDown, I'm glad they're showing signs of improvement.
Yep, definitely. The next good thing I want to talk about was they had a good amount of backstage interviews and promos to help build for their matches. We had a Mark Henry promo going on about how he was stronger and all that kind of stuff.
And he doesn't feel bad for what he's done, which is good because I think they're starting to build Mark Henry up pretty well. And for Mark Henry not doing it for the last couple of months or years, shall I say, having him get involved with all these promos, it's good. I think they're doing good for Mark Henry now.
And then we had this promo with Kane, which I thought was very good. The reason why I liked this was because you've got Orton and Kane in this street fight in the main event. Now, Orton has obviously got these anger issues, as been highlighted by Money in the Bank when he got disqualified. And we also see now that Kane wants to become this monster. So you're thinking to yourself, you've got this guy with anger issues against this guy who wants to be a monster. It's going to be a brutal main event. And that's what this promo put across to me. And it really made me look forward to the main event, which I thought was very good.
That's very true. And I'm thinking with Kane, the way he is, or the way he has been, I personally feel that he's great at these promos things.
He's in a film, See No Evil, so give him promos like that, you know.
So I think the way he speaks, he's great on mic. He's got the evil sounding. He's got the whole
laugh,
the evil laugh, the music. There's the music, the scenery. It was just an awesome promo for Kane. So I'm glad that they're actually bringing them back. Hopefully, this is going to be the first of many to come, and it definitely did great for the main event.
They did it very well, didn't they? Especially with that eerie music in the background, which I thought was a very good addition. What next then, NJ? On SmackDown, usually we're guaranteed very good wrestling, but this week we've got some decent matches. We'll start off with, we got Daniel Bryan and Heath Slater. Now, obviously, from that Daniel Bryan segment that we got, we heard Heath Slater on the fucking mic, which wasn't the best thing to hear, but they gave him a match with Daniel Bryan, which I thought was very good.
First, what we both were going to say is when Slater first came out, we thought, oh dear.
One-man rock band, baby!
We thought, oh dear, straight away.
No one joined in.
No, at first.
Just quiet when he said it.
we didn't expect this because we just didn't think Daniel Heath Slater would come out and get involved.
Oh God!
And but at the same time, as much as I'm saying bad about this, their match was pretty good.
Yeah,
Heath Slater actually did do good in this match.
Yeah, and one thing I liked about this match is WWE's use lately in WWE. They haven't, on SmackDown especially, they haven't really been making the best use of what I like to call, jobber heels like Heath Slater. And at least they gave Daniel Bryan a jobber heel to beat, rather than say a heel like Cody Rhodes, for example. And at least it can help build Daniel Bryan up while not burying a guy that really has any importance on SmackDown. Let's face it, Heath Slater's not going to have any importance on SmackDown anytime soon, is he?
Even though he's getting a match against the Money in the Bank, I really don't think that's going to progress to anything else.
But it shows good booking, doesn't it? Because at least they're using a jobber instead of using like a Cody Rhodes, a guy who really doesn't want to be buried. A guy like Heath Slater should be being buried. He's not exactly the best of wrestlers. Well, in my opinion, all the personalities. So, in my opinion, bury him as much as you like. Use him as a jobber against someone like Daniel Bryan. He really needs to push a lot more.
And the thing about this is the match itself. Again, I can't really follow it that much. They don't do many mistakes. It was just ongoing forward action between both.
Daniel Bryan ending with a very with submission, which is
and he's getting pretty good at that.
It's enhancing his submission gimmick, really, isn't it? Because we know he's a submission guy, so it's really good they're enhancing that as well, isn't it?
It's good that again they both played their strengths in the match, which again. I was entertained by this match.
Yeah, we also got Sheamus versus Wade Barrett, which was an interesting match, wasn't it? Because we feel here that they might be turning Sheamus face, especially after that reaction he got on Money in the Bank. The match itself was, you got two guys there, very similar styles, both brawlers, so why not put them in a match together? Some people might say, oh, why are these two facing off? Why is Wade Barrett getting buried, which is a bad thing for us? But at least they're trying to do something with Sheamus, and at least they're trying to create some sort of face, because let's face it, at the moment, SmackDown need faces, don't they?
And I'm thinking Sheamus could actually become a really good face. Again, yes, he's played a perfect heel, so it's going to be hard to see him as a face. But the thing with this is that, as you said, SmackDown needs faces. I'm thinking if they continue with this
booking, the way they're doing it.
Yeah, and this whole Sheamus versus Barrett thing, I think Barrett could actually help Sheamus to become a decent face.
If there's one person who you really want to put someone over as a face, it's Wade Barrett. He's a great heel. I mean, he managed to really work a great rivalry with John Cena, who at the time was getting a lot of boos, and he managed to get Cena a lot of cheers, so you can't really fault him for that. He's a very good heel. So definitely some improvements in booking, we would see. I mean, we've seen on SmackDown, although they have good matches, a lot of them don't really have too much. A lot of them don't have too many storylines. Is one thing. I'll go into the bad points. But at least we're seeing some improvements in booking. We saw a double count out in the Sheamus Barrett match, so none of them get buried too much until the aftermath, which I thought was very good. We have Slater being a jobber to Daniel Bryan rather than having Daniel Bryan against Cody Rhodes. So you're getting a lot. I think the writing, some of the booking from booking standpoint, it's getting better. It might not be getting brilliant, but it's starting to get better now, I think, on SmackDown.
That is true. The matches we had tonight, I can't say anything bad about them.
There's only one I can say bad about, which we'll go on about in a minute, yeah.
We have Sheamus versus Barrett. Again, I wanted to see those two both after Money in the Bank. I wanted to see them in a match with each other. Daniel Bryan and Slater, again, at first I was thinking, oh no, what the hell? But the match itself turned out to be pretty good, so I'm going to say 2 thumbs up to these two matches.
Yep, another big thumb up I want to give to is the main event. We had Randy Orton versus Kane in a street fight, and I really did think this match was quite good. It kind of had a little bit of a pay-per-view feel about it, in my opinion. Just the way the match was done, it got a good amount of time, as we made a point of in our review. The main event, I really liked it. I thought, you've got these two guys here. One guy with anger issues, the other guy wants to be a monster. You're bringing these together in a street fight. It's a perfect match, and I really did like it.
And a street fight on a SmackDown, that is really different, really interesting. I think the way the whole street fight itself, it gave the monster gimmick a chance to come out in a street fight. You have Orton's anger because he lost his championship to Christian. A chance to come out too. Yeah. And it did show brilliantly on both sides in this match. So it was just a great main event.
And this leads me on to my next good point, which is even though the Randy Orton won, which you kind of know he would, he couldn't. Okay, is it me or can Orton really never do an RKO through a table? He just can't do it through an announcer's table, can he? He just can't do it, and he got his foot stuck in. He got his foot stuck in the pit, the hole where the TV goes, and I just couldn't stop laughing at that. He just sort of got his foot and then fell over, and then he kind of got up and was like, "No, I'm not injured. I'm not injured." And he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so injured."
And he started smiling, like you said. I was meant to do that.
Reminiscent of Mick Foley there, smiling when he's injured.
Yeah, pretty much. But I say yes, Orton won, but Kane throughout that match. He actually showed why he deserved to be in that match, I thought. He played brilliantly against Orton.
Okay, I do think that. I do hope they turn Kane heel, though.
It would be good to see, because Kane has shown signs of wanting to become a heel again.
Another good thing, so I was going to say this before, until I got sidetracked by that table spot. The night didn't end with Orton. Now, throughout SmackDown now, we've seen SmackDown end with Orton on top every fucking time. But this time, we saw Orton win the match, him and Kane shake hands. I'm not sure about that, but we saw Kane and Orton shake hands, and all of a sudden, Mark Henry comes out. And you see Mark Henry pummel the fuck out of Kane. And you're just thinking to yourself, although you know you like Kane, it's still a different way to end SmackDown. You're having someone else in Mark Henry actually ending up on top. And these small things at SmackDown are really improving my opinion of it. It's just these small things they're doing which we didn't really like before, and they're changing it that way.
The thing I've said about earlier is, again, as much as I'm a fan of Mark Henry, Kane, I am starting to become a fan of Mark Henry, so I was kind of right by saying that. Is that it is about time that they actually start using a new monster. They start using Mark Henry, because for years and years and years, he's done absolutely nothing, just these odd matches.
Yeah.
So for him to actually get involved, again, he's not going to be a main eventer. He's not. I don't see it, because if he does, I don't know. I don't feel it at the minute.
No.
He's still working on this monster. He's still working on this inner monster he's got inside of him. So still working on that. But I'd say him finishing in it was something different. And it was definitely going to continue Mark Henry's push.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Mark Henry, I don't really know what to say about Mark, because he's getting this huge monster push now. He's injured 2 guys. He's injured Big Show, and now he's injured Kane, which apparently means he's going to be sidelined for 3 months in kayfabe, apparently, according to sources. You know, I'm just glad we didn't end the fucking night of Orton, because I'm fed up with it. And I just
my question for Mark Henry now is, you've taken out Big Show, who you're meant to be in a rivalry with. You've taken up Kane. What's next?
Well, who knows? Maybe he'll go after Randy Orton.
I guess that's left his only option, because he's taken out his other 2 monsters.
It's a good way to get him in the main event, though, if it does happen. I mean, I would believe him as a main event guy if he went in it. So it's, you know, WWE are really, if they're going to put him in the main event, they've really prepared him quite well, in my opinion.
I agree with that, yeah.
So SmackDown at the moment, as you saw by our review, which we'll link to you in the description box below, with all our reviews, I guess we'll link all our reviews down below, won't we? Raw, TNA, and SmackDown.
That'd be a good idea.
Yep.
Yes.
We just thought of that now. We never really thought of that before, did we?
No.
So SmackDown is showing signs of improvement at the moment, which I think is good. There's still a lot of things we can nitpick, which we'll go on to in a minute. But SmackDown at the moment is showing a lot of improvements from what we've heard of before. And it just, you know, it means we have a lot more positivity about it. And although the improvements aren't great, they're gradually improving it in little pieces. And it's these little, like I said, it's these little things sometimes which can make the show so much better.
Rating wise, I think with these little bits that are happening over the whole night, I think it's going to improve. They continue with these little bits of improvement. Like next week, they might do something else completely different, which would be good to see.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that with these SmackDown ideas, writers, and all that, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next with SmackDown.
Yep, and that really leads on to the bad. There's a couple of bad things. I want to start off with something that we don't have listed down in our notes. The fact that SmackDown, like Raw, still don't seem to have that many storylines other than the main event storyline and maybe the Mark Henry push.
Backhand that.
Ooh,
again.
Ow.
Money in Bank's finished. It's time to now, whole new month, start. So again, I'm saying exactly what I said before. You're saying it's just happened. Money
yeah,
Bank's
I'm
just
talking
finished.
about, not just talking about now, I'm talking about in previous weeks and months as well. The storyline seems to be...
Before Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
So yeah, back then, yeah, there was not many rivalries or things going on. I'm saying now that we've got new writers and they can actually start doing their work, I'm hoping we're going to see some rivalries getting made.
Same here, but at the moment I'm not too confident. Generally, I'm just saying. That's just my opinion on that one.
You've got to be confident with the new writers. Come on now.
Yeah, well, I'll try. But as soon as they show me some, and they have shown me some improvement. As soon as they show me if they can, you know, make a load of feuds which, you know, I'll care about and can be involved, and can, you know, be built to a pay-per-view without having to be added at the last minute, I'll start praising them.
You better be.
All right, calm down, NJ. Let's go on to the bad stuff then.
Yeah, let's go.
Right, the first bad thing we have to say about this week is the Christian versus Ezekiel Jackson match. We didn't mind the match, you know, because you have Christian knows you're world champion against Zeke, who's a strong face. But why do you have to continue burying your Intercontinental Champion at the expense of a Christian? Why can't Christian be involved in a match with someone else?
Well, that comes on to this. We have Zeke Jackson, who, again, he's still fairly new to this phase and stuff, so he needs to continue with the pushes, the wind and that. So putting him against Christian was really unfair, and with Christian, there's not really anyone else he could face. Everyone else that he could have faced is either in a rivalry, in a match, or for some reason didn't appear on SmackDown.
Oh, this is another weakness of SmackDown. They just don't have enough faces, and now they didn't have Justin Gabriel on TV this week. Sin Cara's not there, so again, you've just got a lack of faces, which guys like Christian have to face guys like Ezekiel Jackson because there's not enough faces on SmackDown. It means there's not much variety in matches they can do, and in matches like this, it's that lack of variety which really just doesn't help but bury some guys. And to have Ezekiel Jackson, your Intercontinental Champion, buried at the expense of Christian just seems a little bit stupid, especially when you want to be making your IC champion look strong, which you need to do.
I think it was really unfair to do it, but like we've said, it couldn't really been helped.
No, but Ezekiel Jackson, although he did look somewhat strong, it's just you look at these things, you think Christian beat him, and it's just like, yeah, it's understandable, but just why is this match even happening? Can't you have Ezekiel Jackson in another match? Oh, that brings me on to something. We got advertised an Ezekiel Jackson versus Cody Rhodes match for the Intercontinental Championship. Did we get it this weekend, Jay?
No, instead we got him against Christian.
Yeah. Why are WWE advertising matches and then not giving us them?
Well, our point was that maybe, because it's the week after Money in the Bank, maybe somehow in the match, Cody Rhodes actually did get.
But didn't they advertise it after Money in the Bank though?
Maybe they didn't think Cody's injury was that bad.
It's really bad for me when they advertise a match and then the match didn't actually happen. I mean, it happened on TNA in a way because TNA had Velvet Sky versus Mickie James, but that actually had some sort of meaning to it. They actually did try and have the match, but there was some other segment involved. But this match didn't happen. It's a match I was actually quite looking forward to as well. Cody Rhodes against Ezekiel Jackson for the IC belt.
Because if they face each other, it wouldn't have damaged anyone. Cody Rhodes is starting to want to be in the main event, but obviously they're not really ready to put him there yet.
But you can also tease that thing between him and Ted DiBiase in it. Make him lose maybe by Ted DiBiase, interference or something, and tease a Cody-Ted breakup or something.
And that's another wrestler that was missing, Ted DiBiase. Like,
there was loads, wasn't there?
Again, some matches could have been done a lot differently if they actually used the wrestlers that weren't actually there.
Yep. We had a lot of wrestlers missing this week, maybe from the Money in the Bank, but who knows. We had Cody Rhodes missing, Ted DiBiase winning, no Justin Gabriel, a guy who I was quite looking forward to seeing, and no Sin Cara.
Because with Heath Ledger and Justin Gabriel, you want to see more Justin Gabriel. Yes. You want to see him do great stuff.
450 splash. Whoa.
And you want to see him continue on his face push.
Yeah.
So I'll say without him having him on a SmackDown, I think that was just poor, not good.
It was very poor, and the advertised match, in my opinion, was very poor. Just because you're giving people something, you're advertising something, and you don't fulfil it, and it's just bad business, in my opinion. What next then? From the Vault, we got another weekly From the Vault segment. This is going to be constantly there. I'm going to keep moaning about it until WWE get rid of it, especially this week, because sometimes From the Vaults involve guys that are in the WWE or on SmackDown. Sometimes they don't. This one involved two divas. One of which has gone from WWE now on a hiatus, I'm guessing, for a while, and one which is never featured on TV anymore, unless it's a 7-on-7 Divas match. So it's such a pointless From the Vault segment.
It was. I just didn't really like it. I was watching it because obviously it was just there, but it was not needed.
Well, when we watched SmackDown on YouTube, we just skipped it, didn't we? Because we knew we didn't really want to see it.
No, it weren't needed in SmackDown.
One thing, it just really baffles me how WWE, give us these From the Vault segments when they could be either making the matches longer, helping to create storylines going into a pay-per-view, helping build characters, helping build new guys, maybe give Jinder Mahal a squash match, to help build him. I don't know, it really baffles me when they use this. And I usually complain about Raw recaps as well.
Oh, well, we got one of them on, which was needed, I think.
Yeah, but it went on too long. It really went on very long. I didn't like that. I really didn't like the fact that it went on really long with commercial breaks as well. Well, but it was needed, like you said.
The Raw one was needed, but From the Vault, I think they sometimes show classic matches, but with this particular one,
we don't care.
It just weren't needed. No,
we don't. But I don't know. Was there any other bad points about Raw? Raw, I'm thinking behind myself here. SmackDown, which you want to acknowledge here before we move on to overall thoughts?
Not ones that we haven't really said, no.
So as you heard there's very little bad about SmackDown. There's a lot of nitpicking, but sometimes as a wrestling fan you have to nitpick. because you want to see a better product, and that's why we do it. Not very many bad points. SmackDown showing signs of improvement. We gave it a B this week, so it's improving, isn't it?
It is, and I think as it's shown signs of improvement, it deserved a good grade for once. Yeah.
Yep. Okay then. So let's move on to our overall thoughts, NJ, shall we?
Let's go for it.
Yeah. Money. So NJ, overall, how would you rate this week in wrestling, starting from Money in the Bank all the way to SmackDown?
Again, I'm just glad that everything's showing signs of improvements. Yep. Raw did, TNA did, and SmackDown did.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of shockers this week as well, which is especially in WWE, it was a form of the week, wasn't it? We had CM Punk and Daniel Bryan winning Money in the Bank, Vince McMahon Triple H firing Vince on Raw, Daniel Bryan announcing when he was going to win Money in the Bank or not ending the show, which in itself is a surprise. So you had a lot of surprises this week, and it's one of those things that keeps you on the edge of being a wrestling fan, really, isn't it?
And I'm expecting more to come from this because, as I've said many times in this video, new writers and a whole fresh new month. They can do a lot of good things leading up to the next pay-per-view now.
Yep, which is SummerSlam, which I'm expecting to be... I really want that to be a good pay-per-view. It's funny how, in this last month, we've had 3 very good pay-per-views from three different wrestling promotions. ROH had Best in the World 2011, which was a good pay-per-view. We had Money in the Bank from WWE and Destination X from TNA. So in terms of pay-per-views, we've had a really good month. I mean, I know this is good and bad week, but it's a fucking good month for us, isn't it, in terms of pay-per-views?
I think it has, yes. And these shows that we've just been reviewing today, they've actually tried to do their best to follow on from their pay-per-view.
Which, was very good, wasn't it? I mean, we can't fault Money in the Bank. Raw, the main event was fantastic for that. TNA is still showing signs of improvement, and SmackDown definitely showing signs of improvement. That's really, really it, isn't it? Unless you have any more insight. Your fantastic insight, NJ, which you usually grace us upon this show.
No, what I could say is that we've said that we needed to about Raw, SmackDown, and TNA.
Yep. And Money in the Bank as well.
And Money in the Bank, which was good because it was just to follow on from that.
I think I know what you're going to say next, NJ. Make sure you guys get your comments in the comment section below, what you think of the shows, what you thought of our opinions. Just get your comments down below, anything. Remember, this is a new concept. We also do want your feedback as well on what you think of our good and bad of the week. Tell us some things we can do better. Tell us things that, we should keep the same.
So share your views on the 3 shows that we've had this week and Money in the Bank itself. And we've just got one word.
One word.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.